Now let's go back to the first game without John Gruden. I told you that the Raiders' first game without John Gruden occurred over at Denver because that is where the operator of SoFi Stadium resides at. Kroenke Sport and Entertainment is based in Denver, Colorado. Now, the reason why the Super Bowl run begins at Dallas has everything to do with the architect of the stadium. So the Raiders were at 5-5, reeling, three straight losses, and people are like, "Oh, this is the same Raiders. It's November," but the Raiders have flipped the script. The Super Bowl run begins at Dallas because it has everything to do with the architect of SoFi Stadium. Now, I did talk about scenario number two if we don't see Tampa, but then again, I told you about Deshaun Jackson being a former Buccaneer, and he has that big touchdown at Arlington. He had that big touchdown against the Bucks with the with the LA Rams. Deshaun Jackson once again is going to return back to LA to win the Super Bowl. I'm going to show you the architect of SoFi Stadium. The architect is HKS Incorporated, which is based in Dallas, Texas. That is exactly where the Super Bowl run begins for Dallas Carr and the and against the Dallas Cowboys with former Cowboys coach Rich Bisaccia. They have 27 locations, this architecture firm. It was the Raiders' 27th game in Vegas against the Dallas Cowboys. These are big clues that the Raiders are going to win the Super Bowl over at SoFi Stadium in a home Super Bowl against Tom Brady. They won at the city which the architect of SoFi Stadium is from. And that is not by coincidence. This is all by design. HKS Incorporated has gematria of 28. There are 28 penalties in a game. Dallas, Texas is gematria of 28. The Raiders' 28th game is coming right after this. Let me see the gematria of Daniel Carlson, the winner of the game in rigged fashion, because don't forget, the Raiders are 5-5. Daniel Carlson went 5 for 5 kicking field goals. This is why Daniel Carlson won the game. Now, the 56-yard field goal sent it to overtime. I have to go to ESPN to see how much yards out the game winner was, and I can quickly do that quickly. Now, the reason why the Raiders won that game with Dallas Carr, the star, 36-3, is because Derek Carr was the 36th overall pick of the 2014 draft. The Raiders' last Super Bowl win occurred against the Redskins. In gematria, it is Redskins that has gematria 36. And this is precisely why Derek Dallas Carr, DC, is going to win the first Super Bowl since the Raiders defeated DC, Washington, D.C. And you see that it's Derek Dallas Carr that is the gematria of the Redskins in the special one and Thanksgiving. Now, what's interesting is that Stephen A. Smith made a 1 minute and 41 second clip mocking the Dallas Cowboys.
Listen, we are all innocent. That's a fact. And no one can tell us it.
And Derek Dallas Carr is born on the 28th day, nonetheless, as well. That connects to the gematria of the architecture firm of 1991, which is 141. And like I said, Thanksgiving is the day that Derek Dallas Carr breaks out, and he became a Raider on a 141 day, on the 141st day of the year. He became a Raider on May the 21st, and when you look at May the 21st is the 141st day of the year. So this is how you know this is all synced up with the winner of Super Bowl 18, which is Jim Plunkett. His 74th birthday is coming up on December the 5th. He defeated the Redskins for his second Super Bowl ring. And then the Raiders' next game happens on his December the 5th birthday. I talked about that in another video. I'll show you the first clip. The Raiders are going to be 7-5 after that game because, like I've said before, Marcus Allen was the MVP. Marcus is Jumanji 75. Now it's Philadelphia that's Jumanji 65 because Tom Brady's last Super Bowl loss came against Philadelphia. The Raiders are 6-5. It was their last win against Philadelphia. Deshaun Jackson played for the Eagles. Now Jim Plunkett won Super Bowl 18. His birthday's on December the 5th, and in rigged, scripted fashion, it is Derek Carr that is throwing his 18th touchdown pass of the season on the birthday of Jim Plunkett, his 74th birthday. Jim Plunkett won Super Bowl 18. That was his second Super Bowl ring. It's no coincidence that Derek Carr is throwing his 18th touchdown on his birthday. That was completely planned. That is showing you that the Raiders are defeating the Bucs in the Super Bowl. His second ring came over at Tampa, Florida. The last Super Bowl came at Tampa last year. This is all synced up with Super Bowl 18. The winner of Super Bowl 18 on his 74th birthday, that's when the 18th touchdown pass happens against. And the Raiders will get one back against Washington football team because the script says that all the league is out to get the Raiders. They're out to get the Raiders. The Washington football team, the investigation of the Washington football team resulted in a leak. Henry Ruggs drove at 156 miles per hour. The Raiders' last Super Bowl win came against Washington football team. Washington football team in abbreviations is 156. Now, they should beat the Seahawks because it's Ron Rivera and Washington football team that's too much at 57, which means that the Washington football team is 5-8 because the Raiders' last Super Bowl win occurred over at Oakland because Oakland's too much at 58. It's also Daniel Snyder that's too much at 58 in the Seattle Seahawks, the team that the Redskins played prior. Now, it's the Dallas Cowboys that's too much at 58 and the Raiders were coming off of a game against the Dallas Cowboys. And if I'm not mistaken, the Washington football team's next opponent right after the Raiders is against the frickin' Dallas Cowboys. And it shows you how rigged and scripted the 58 is revolving around the Raider win. It'd be the Washington football team's 8th loss. Derek Carr is born in the year of the GOAT, 1991. This is why he defeats Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. It's all synced up. And the Super Bowl run begins against the Cowboys. It has everything to do with the architectural firm in Texas, like I said before. How that relates to Jim Plunkett is the fact that Jim Plunkett's Jumanji 43. Now, interim coach Rich Bisaccia is going to be 4-3 as interim coach on his day. He defeated the Broncos 1-0. He defeated the Eagles 2-0. Right after the Eagles, they were 2-2 in rigged fashion. They lose to the Giants, they lose to the Chiefs, they lose to the Bengals at 2-3. And so, ever since John Gruden got fired, Bisaccia is 3-3. And now that is rigged too because Gruden is Jumanji 33. Now they are Bisaccia is 4-3. It's absolutely going to happen. That it has everything to do with Jim Plunkett. Jim Plunkett has too much of Dallas Cowboys. That is a game that the Raiders are just coming off against. It's also Derek that has too much of 43. Now, think again. In an investigation with Daniel Snyder, why is it that Daniel Carlson won the game-winning field goal the prior game right before a game against Daniel Snyder? Because it's all a rigged, scripted hoax. You have to understand that. And who knows if this is not a domination of Tom Brady, that this is a close game that results in a game-winning field goal. Now, what I do think about Daniel Carlson being the kicker is that Tom Brady's last Super Bowl loss came against the Eagles. Daniel Carlson in Minneapolis at Jumanji 55, and Tom Brady's last Super Bowl loss came at Minneapolis. So this is very interesting. 5-5, the Raiders were 5-5. He wins the game. First win since the Eagles. This has everything to do with the team that the Eagles beat, the prior team that they beat. Look at the 32-14 loss to the Bengals. Jim's gematria in simple and Pythagorean is the scoreline of the Bengals game. So on Thanksgiving, On his birthday, the Radar dynasty is being unleashed. 7-5 because of the Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. Bruce Allen, where the emails came from, it's all rigged that Derek Carr has 17 touchdowns. This is exactly why Marcus Mariota came into the game. It's all rigged, this touchdown. Marcus Allen won Super Bowl 18 MVP. Marcus Mariota scored the touchdown to keep Derek Carr at 17 touchdowns. Maybe they run it in to Josh Jacobs, but Marcus Mariota in that package keeps Derek Carr at 17 touchdowns entering this game. And then Derek Carr is 3-0 in overtime games this year after beating the Cowboys. The Raiders are based in Henderson. The Super Bowl run begins against the Cowboys. This is tied in the Jumanji of Henderson with the Cowboys. Inglewood, California once again. Derek Carr beats the Colts to clinch the playoffs. He's getting one back against the Colts. Derek Carr wins the Super Bowl this year. He's in the playoffs again ever since getting knocked out by the Colts. And they make it to Inglewood, California. The Patriots are... You're seeing all this sync up right now. You're seeing that the Raiders are going to have a chance to be 8-5 entering the Kansas City Chiefs game. They absolutely do. Once again, 132 is linked to the 13th day of February. This can't be coincidence. This is all by design. There's 10 games left until the Super Bowl. 6-4. Jumanji of Dan is 10. Completely read, completely scripted. 82 days. Okay. Now, other news is that other news, the email settlement. They're not going to trial. They're settling for $790 million. Now the Rams are screwed. The Rams are screwed because they're just telling you indirectly other owners are going to pay. It's not immediately clear how much we pay by Plunkett. Other owners. If other owners have to pay, okay, if we pay, you're not getting the Super Bowl. Mark Davis was right. If only we would have just had the Raiders, Chargers, Carlson proposal. If only we had that. If only we had that. We would not be in this mess. So 2 months and 9 days later, the Raiders' 29th playoff win is going to occur in the Super Bowl, wearing black in the Super Bowl. Well, I can make that in its own video by itself. 56 days from Bisaccia becoming the head coach to the birthday of Jim Plunkett. Again, he won the last Super Bowl. The Raiders are going to win Super Bowl 56. The amount of day from Derek Carr's birthday to the day of Jim Plunkett's birthday is 36 weeks. It just so happens to be that he's the 36th pick, and it just happens to be that the Redskins is Jumanji of 36. Again, that cannot be by coincidence. That all has to be by design. "47 days till the day of the settlement to January the 10th. Once again, well, that is entirely separate, the whole John Gruden fight with the NFL. That is going to tie into history in a really big way. I can explain why in the next video. The firm was founded in 1939. Al Davis was the general manager for 39 years of the Raiders. It is the Bengals that the Raiders would begin the dynasty right after losing to. They'd be the defending champions entering the Super Bowl at Arizona because Arizona's Jumanji 39. It's the Raiders. They're going to be 8-4 against the Washington football team, tied into their next Super Bowl championship before the one at Arizona is the key word. HKS Incorporated. HKS by itself. HKS Jumanji of 38. 38 years later, the Raiders win the Super Bowl. It shows you how completely rigged and completely scripted this is. Just win, baby. And like I have said before, I'm fed up, says Derek Carr in the Raiders. The last Super Bowl over at San Diego, they play at the Chargers Stadium again. They play at the stadium of the St. Louis Rams. Completely rigged, man. Completely rigged. It's going to be a joy for you to see this rigged riddle play out. Now the next one is going to tie into the fight between John Gruden and the NFL, and the last time the Raiders chose to pick a fight in the courts with the NFL.